As these things are true of God, they establish the baseline of God's sovereignty in and over the universe. In all things, and nothing excepted, God is aware of and allows all things to occur which in fact occur. Anything which does not fit his plans for what occurs will not occur. All that he determined to occur will come to pass. He can cause or prevent anything in order for what he wills to come about. However, those things which do occur, which are morally opposed to his nature, and yet which have come about, have been allowed by him, though not directly caused by him. Please remember that. Some, when contemplating that God is sovereign and that he knows the end from the beginning, cannot accept the idea of free will in man. To them, if God knows the end from the beginning, it must be by its very nature something that negates free will in man. If God already knows what we will do, and if God has already determined how all things will come out, then they would say that we cannot be truly free moral beings. There is real fault in that thinking from several perspectives. First, God calls certain things evil. Anybody ever read that in the Bible? Something is evil to God. There is evil that God abhors. Further, man is capable of committing evil. Therefore, to say that man lacks free will is to then say that God determined the evil which he abhors. That is a logical contradiction. There are many examples of this in Scripture, but one example will suffice. From Numbers 25, something we just did not long ago, verses 1 through 3. Now Israel remained in Acacia Grove, and the people began to commit harlotry with the women of Moab. They invited the people to the sacrifices of their gods, and the people ate and bowed down to their gods. So Israel was joined to Baal of Peor, and the anger of the Lord was aroused against Israel. Those people willfully bowed down to a god which is not God. God did not force them to do so, but he also could have forced them to not do so. Therefore, there is an allowance by God of things which stand opposed to his own moral nature. But does the fact that there is evil then mean that God is not in control? Not at all. To understand the problem of evil, how it came about, and what it means in relation to God's plan, you can go back and watch several of the early Genesis sermons, especially the sermon called Who is the Liar? Suffice it to say that evil exists, that God, although the ultimate cause of all things, does not actively cause evil, and that logically man therefore possesses free will. God indirectly controls all things, but he does not directly cause all things to occur. This then is the exterior limits of God's sovereignty over his creation. Man's free will and man's accountability as to how he exercises his free will is that limit. We can do things which are contrary to God's nature, and he allows them within his own personal control of creation. Just because God knows something will happen, it does not mean that free will does not exist. What it means is that God's knowledge and his plan using that knowledge has factored in man's free will.